official. I lied.
No.
Next week is our last.
But it's pre-recorded, so.
Yes. So we're here today with our back to school series. Last week we talked about anxiety and
ADHD.
I think anxiety,
ADHD.
ADHD. As we're ramping up and getting back to school, obviously life changes drastically, especially if kids are going to new school, kids are just starting school. I mean,
Even
heck,
going
kids
to
are
new
kids.
grades.
New
Yeah.
grades, anything.
Just throw
So
them
we talked about that last week, and we did more of a medical aspect, I guess I would say, to, I don't know what's going on over here.
She said they're all going into new grades, and we were both like, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Hopefully most of them are going into new grades.
We talked about the medical side of things, so supplements and testing and gut health, and we didn't really get into routines because if we would have got into that, I think our show would have been even longer than it already was. But I personally, and you can watch last week's episode, a little bit of my story, and we've referenced it in other episodes, but the actual routine is big for me as well, and there's different things that I can do along with what do I always say, diet, exercise, supplementation, so on and so forth, in the actual routine and how important that is for our kids.
It's like lifestyle implemented into a process.
Yeah. When I say the wellness way changed my family's life or my life, even before I worked here, it's not just they gave me some supplements. You just start learning and thinking differently and starting somewhere. So, yeah, that's that.
That's that. Well, my kids started school already.
Yeah.
Last week.
Oh.
Yeah. They started on,
really?
was that just last week? I think so.
I think so.
Last Wednesday.
Yep.
Mhm. And then they were all, like, it took maybe 2 nights that we put them to bed early, instead of like the summer routine. So I went to bed early, got up in time. We pretended to go to school the day before, which we've never really done in the past.
Awesome.
So we pretended. Brian took them all out for coffee, of course. And then on Saturday they were up bright and early, just like their new routine. So it worked, except
2
that it
days.
worked on Saturday too.
It worked all weekend.
So it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then they did it again on Saturday. So it was kind of a bummer. You're supposed to sleep in on Saturdays, but they just don't get it.
Yeah, I think
But it's been good so far.
obviously some of you, a lot of your kids have gone back to school. Let us know if your kids are back to school or when they start. Yours start Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Mine don't start till after, so then yours would start Wednesday as well. Same
Well,
school.
Faith started this last week.
Yeah.
Faith did. Okay.
On Wednesday
Okay.
last week.
So you'll have one in grade school, one in middle school, one in high school,
Yeah, wow.
2 in grade school.
2 in grade
Yeah,
school.
2 in
That's
grade
right.
school, yeah.
So what is Felicity?
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten. Cute.
Oh, my babies are in school this year.
And
How
now 3 different schools.
Yes.
So not all in the same
Well,
building.
no. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Well,
Kind of.
buildings. 2 different buildings.
yes.
Yeah.
So I have a little bit of help.
You got 2
Yeah, you
schools.
need it.
Picking them up afterwards.
Yeah, fortunately they kind of share a campus, so they're kind of like middle school and high school are back to back.
Oh, that's helpful.
But Victoria's already counting down the days to when she's going to be in Big Brother's school. She's like,
Oh.
all excited to show them the love in the hallways
bet.
and embarrass the tar out of them.
I bet
That's
he's
next year,
not
though.
looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Funny.
I think we reference anxiety a lot because it's shown in many different forms.
Mm-hmm.
I read an article a couple months ago that said your kids don't say, "Mommy, I have anxiety."
Yes. Yeah.
They say, "Mommy, I have a stomach ache,"
Mm-hmm.
or "Mommy, I don't feel good,"
Mm-hmm.
or "Dad, I don't feel good," or "Daddy, I don't feel good." So it comes in all different forms, and it's just I feel like kids are just thrown with so much stuff nowadays. Eat this, don't eat that, do this homework. You can't do this recess, and then they take recess away as punishment, which makes it 10 times worse. But what are your guys' favorite things to get through the school year to stick with the best you can with boundaries and priorities and making a full lifestyle
And schedules.
and schedules?
Yeah. Well, we talked a little bit before the show started. We all have something different. So it's like what we say all the time is find what works for you, because for Renee, it might be super techy and awesome and color coordinated.
Little digital.
Yeah. And then for me, it's literally a pencil and paper calendar in one spot so that everybody can look at it and it's not, oh, I didn't look at my phone or I didn't look at the notification or whatever. And if you're scheduling something, you have to check the master calendar, but don't write in pen. that just ticks me off.
I mean, my husband just updated from a flip
Everything.
phone. So
Oh, really? Wow. Congratulations.
Kidding.
What?
No, you're not kidding.
As I said, I'm not even
Oh, I
kidding.
thought you said I'm kidding. I'm like, no, you're not.
No, I'm not. He still has the
But
flip
I
phone as
didn't-
backup, in case the iPhone explodes or something.
Overheats or something?
But
But I mean,
we
yeah,
sit
people-
down weekly. We sit down
That's
every
smart.
Saturday or Sunday. So if the kids happen to go, Saturdays or Fridays are the days they happen to go with grandparents because they're not working. So we'll sit down at dinner, not every Saturday, but if we can on a Saturday without kids or Sunday after they go to bed, and we look at what the week looks
ahead.
like. It's
Mhm.
the only way we've found that we communicate the best. And he'll
Mhm.
say, okay, on Tuesday I plan to pick up this lawnmower. And half the time it's me saying, no, you don't. We don't need that lawnmower right now. We need a second lawnmower. They laugh because they know my husband. But we talk through things. And then, okay, well, Bella has volleyball and the kids have this. Which one are you doing? Which one am I doing? And we have to talk through with kids that young
Mhm.
and nobody driving yet other than
Yeah.
us what's
Yeah.
happening. So we found out verbal communication. So I run the calendars, I schedule the dentist appointments, the doctor's appointments, and I do all that kind of stuff. And then we just so you know, you have XYZ this week. And that's what's worked best for us, obviously.
Yeah, we went with the Google Calendar situation because we use them anyway. And then if you're familiar, Google lets you share your calendars with other users. You can keep private calendars. All of our kids have different colors for their events. Jeremy can put stuff on, I can put stuff on, and only have relevant things seen to you. It's super handy. It's digital. It's always in our hands. And then he will remind me if I don't set reminders, like, hey, who's taking Victoria to piano? And it's like, oh, that's tonight. Okay,
Oh,
I can
that's
see
me.
it. Great. I'm glad you can see that and text me who's texting. Because
cool.
yeah, I mean, it just works for us.
I heard a mom over the weekend, she's not techie, but they wanted a textile calendar. So different apps like Cozy, I've
Oh,
heard
yeah.
of, work well.
Yeah, there's lots of apps.
But they said they got one master family email list, and everybody uses one Google Calendar. She goes, we couldn't get on the same page with sharing this and sharing this calendar or whatnot, so they created one Google Calendar, and everybody just has a different color. So everybody sees everybody's stuff. Of course, that works for now.
Mhm.
Eventually, when my daughter's in college and my youngest is in elementary school, she's really not going to need to know that it's
Mhm.
time for
Yeah.
potty training or whatever it might be, or that she has a soccer match, but she didn't play soccer. Where that came from. But that's a quick thing. They grabbed a Google Calendar, all threw it in their phones, and they just
Yeah.
have different colors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that working.
So
yeah.
But
it's
like
been-
what you said with like having kids so busy and keeping them all on the right track, but remembering like even as parents we have to take a break. So give your kids a break, as far as like getting too overworked or overwhelmed or for Kylie that's what she needs is a calendar because if she doesn't know that I'm gone on Thursday night, she'll lose it on Thursday night. So it's like she needs to know this week that I'm gone Thursday night, I'm gone Friday night, but we're home all weekend and we're doing this vacation, you know what I mean? Like just to prep her because of like her anxiety. That's just what she has to know. I
See,
think
and
you
my
said
dog-
one of your kids
mine's
was
the
like that.
opposite.
Yes.
You can't tell.
I can't tell her
sick.
anything.
Mhm.
No, or she makes herself sick. So
Yeah.
she can't know anything ahead of time. It kind of has to be like, today we're going, and we're going right now. Otherwise, I was the same way though.
where'd she get? I was
Yeah.
gonna say, where'd she get
Yeah, I
that
know.
from?
I was the same way apparently. My mom
Are you
could never
still
tell
the same
me.
way?
I was gonna say what?
Do you-
Yeah,
because you
I
said it
know.
like you were.
Your
I didn't know if you
Yeah.
still are.
No, I still am. I don't do good with, which is probably why. But I don't like surprises though either.
I was
Like
gonna say,
I don't
but you
get-
don't like surprises
I don't like either
Jason
one.
And I learned that earlier this year.
I don't like either one, honestly. I don't. But for my daughter, it has to be. She can't find out until we're leaving. So,
Mhm.
and besides that, it'll be every day.
But
When are we
that's
going?
the
How
thing
many-
about
Obsessed
things-
about
That's
it.
true
But now,
too,
so
yeah.
for her though, I did
Working.
find if she does find out ahead of time, if we
Yeah.
put like a calendar, like just print off any general calendar and put it on the fridge so she can mark off the days,
Mhm.
it seems to keep her calmer.
Yeah.
Because then she can see how many days. Like when Bella was going to
Visually,
start
she can
babysitting,
see.
oh, when is Bella
Yeah.
coming? When is Bella coming? I'm like,
Yeah.
Bella's coming in 7 days, so she would like start checking it off, and that seemed to make her feel better.
Time is not
Um,
tangible for these little guys,
no.
where they don't have a real
Mhm.
good grasp on it yet. So
Right.
those kind of things are awesome.
Yeah, so I did find that keeps her a little bit more calm before it happens.
I print off, like you said, just a generic, like monthly calendar. So I did it in the summer as well because they had their different lessons and things like that. But for them, it goes both ways. I need it so I know okay, when, you know, we have to drop this one, then pick this one up, then, you know, to coordinate that whole thing. But for them to be able to see, oh, well, hey, I have this whole afternoon open, and then they throw in the, hey, can this person come over? But I do the monthly. So right now we're in volleyball season. So we've got volleyball, like all the stuff, all the practices, the games, and that's for two of the kids, and the gymnastic stuff for the other two, you know, so it's mostly all that kind of stuff. And then when the days off from school are for different, because it's the different schools and the different whatever, but so those calendars are the main ones. And then I'll take like a week and I'll color code it so that they know exactly, like, because sometimes it's just kind of written on there, but I'll like take a week so that they're not like looking at like so much in advance, and they see like the weekly one where I've got it all, like they can see exactly, they each have a different color, and they know, you know, what they've got going on. If they're not on there, then
They don't have
Felicity's-
anything.
she's got one, you know, gymnastics. She's pretty easy. But I, on the other, you know, so I need that. I'm so visual. So is Patrick, you know, to be able to do that. And then he tells me, let me know when you need help with like a certain thing. Like if something is all at the same time and we're trying to, you know, I try not, but when we don't know the schedules ahead of time until like the month right before, we're trying to plan stuff. You know, Patrick's trying to plan his schedule as well. So putting it in my calendar and then seeing what doesn't work or what works, and then saying, hey babe. So and it just happens to be Thursdays. He kind of has a little bit open, and I'm like, okay, guess what? Thursday, I need you. So he's like, hey, let me know. So he fills himself in. He inserts himself into my schedule that he knows is like kind of crazy, and just is able to help out. And he helps out in the mornings with dropping the kids off because he has that time with them. So again,
And I just want to say, there's a whole nother side to this that a lot of people don't want to touch on. It's okay to say no. You and I have talked about this.
Yeah.
It's okay to say no. When your kids are in something every day, that's your prerogative. You get to figure it out. But when they're in something every day of the week and they're struggling because of it,
Or
you're
you're
not-
struggling because
or
of
you're
it.
struggling, or your marriage is struggling because of it, you're not making better little militant kids who are now going to know how to recite, you know, all these different languages and ice skate and hockey and this and that. Like, take hockey for example. None of our kids do it. It's a really demanding sport. Very expensive. I have a friend of mine.
I have a friend who is their family's
That's
in, and they
and that's
travel all the
great.
time,
That's
and
all the
it's-
kids get to do is hockey. Like
Right.
you want to do piano and you want to do guitar and you want to do hockey and you want to do soccer. It's not feasible, and I feel like sometimes moms feel like they have to run themselves ragged to get these kids to all these different opportunities. And then I hear the age-old, we don't have time to meal prep. I don't have time to get supplements in my kid. I don't have time to do anything other than Jack's Pizza. It's long run, right? Tombstone.
What are you forfeiting?
Long run, what are
as a
you
result?
forfeiting?
Yeah.
Are you going to have time when your kids have cancer? I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. It's been a morning. Are you going to have time?
Speaking
They
of
all know what
chaos.
I'm talking about. Are you going to have time to, you know what I mean?
Take them to
what
treatments
happens
or
then?
do this or do
What
right.
happens when you're at every other appointment, or you're in the principal's office every other day? Yes, it happens because your child is acting out because your life in your house is chaos.
That's crazy.
I wasn't gonna go on a soapbox today. I was tired.
Well, I think
Since
it's
when?
I think it's just recognizing, yes, you want to get them to all these opportunities, but at what cost? So if it's costing your family, and if it's costing them, and you know what, learning teamwork in a sport is awesome. You don't have to play all the sports, and there's a really good chance they're not going to be in the NBA and the MLA and the NFL and the, you know,
They can't be good at
so
everything.
pick a sport that
yeah.
they love,
Yeah.
you know, and give them the opportunities that they can build on. Like maybe pick forensics one year and they love that, and then keep going. Or if they try this sport and then another sport, like pick and choose, and then you can still have a really fulfilling home life too. Because when that starts to fall apart because parents are stressed and kids are stressed because they're running and homework, then none of it is getting to what you actually want to try to achieve for these kiddos.
Well, and if you
That's
are
so
doing
true.
it, I have a cousin who her kids are in a ton of activities, but it's all stuff they want to do.
Yeah.
They want to go and do this
The
again. Like,
kids
it's
do.
their option. And if they want to get pulled out of it, she doesn't even flinch an eye. She pulls them out of it. I know a lot of people, when we're at different, my kids do horseback riding now and swimming. They used to do gymnastics, and I heard a lot of chatter between the moms, like, my kids have to do gymnastics, and they have to be here on time, and they have to do this. It's like, they don't really have to. I mean, if you miss one, then nobody's going to die.
It's a somersault.
But I think if you enjoy it and your kids enjoy it and it works for your family, I think it's fine. But I think it's also important to, like, recognize when they need a break and understand that just because they want to quit for a little while doesn't mean that they're, they always say, like, they're
Done.
giving up.
Yeah.
Or they're not trying harder, they're not following through with something. I don't think that's the case. My kids were doing 3 things. They had horseback riding, swim, and gymnastics, and we did it for quite a few years. And finally my daughter looked at me and she's like, I don't want to do gymnastics anymore. I was like, okay, great, let's stop. Like, it wasn't a big deal. My son wanted to keep going, but she didn't want to do it anymore. That's fine, but I think recognizing that, like you said, if it's causing issues in your marriage, or if your kids are going crazy, or whatever the case may
Or
be,
if you're getting
it's too much.
sick.
Right.
Yeah, I would like
Or
to
your
look
kids
at
are getting sick.
some of the
Right.
wellness way patients that come in, and it's layers. It's like an onion.
Mm-hmm.
You peel back the first layer, maybe it's food allergies, and you peel back the next layer, maybe it's a thyroid problem, but that's caused by the second layer, which is hormones and all this stuff. There's so many other layers
And then
at
the
home
stress.
too.
Yeah, and
Stress
that's all,
is
and
what
it really
is-
comes back, and I know we talk about this all the time, but it really comes back to the 3 T's and how we're addressing that, because your body, I think I said this at the last show, or I probably say it on every show, was created for normal, and we're the ones that interfere with it. So when we keep adding all of these different stressors on, whether it's foods, or I
Playing
noticed
with
that
it.
too.
Take
Whether
it away.
it's like foods or thoughts or different things that come into play that stress your body out, or your kid's body, then you're the ones that's making them sick. Like, I know Kylie, we used to do everything, like dance for all, I feel like Kylie was our first, and we did every sport she could possibly try. And now we have 2 more kids and they don't do anything. But we took a huge break, like a 6-month break of just any activities. And it made everything so much better. Like,
They're
it just made our,
calmer,
yeah.
they're more creative. I found that they get
Mhm.
more creative. They're like more ingenuity. Their imaginations just
Mhm.
like.
and it
grow
probably
and
won't
thrive
stay
and-
like that forever. But it was a nice break to kind of reset and think about, do you really want to be doing dance? Or are you just doing it because you've been doing it for 6 years?
Or it's a
you know?
social thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Faith, she did not want to quit because it was her social thing. And I'm
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
I was like, why do you want to do this? Like, do you want to dance someday? Like, do you want to stay in it? And she's like, well, no, my friends are.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, honey, but you can still stay in touch with your friends. So getting down to that, why do they want to do it?
I think a lot of this, what I'm hearing, is like, it's all communication. Good communication with your spouse,
That's
with
true.
your kiddos, understanding how they need to be communicated to and most effective. Like, my kid, one loves being surprised, one hates being surprised. So,
To know that matters.
Right, to know that matters, and to know, like, I think in fireworks, and Jeremy's a planner, so we use this calendar, and he can see my calendar and be like, hey, how about this for a firework? And then we can be on the same page. So it's all just kind of recognizing it, not feeling judged for it, and working within what works for your family.
I look
Like,
at
how do
that
you-
for my teenager, now a teenager. I used to get so frustrated. Come on, we're just gonna. You don't need to know. You don't. She does.
Mhm.
That's her personality, and she does. And I'm called as a mom to find out what makes her tick and what helps her. Because honestly, I don't know where we would be if we wouldn't have figured out her food allergies and wouldn't have figured out that she needs a certain routine at home. She could very well be medicated right now for anxiety, which then adds a whole slew of side effects from those prescriptions.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, as far as like communicating with Wes, or communicating with, is it Carter that you, or is it?
Carter
Which
does
one
not
of
like
the kids?
surprises.
But I mean,
Victoria
with the supplement thing,
Mhm.
like, how do you communicate with Wes about
Oh,
anxiety and
yeah.
supplements?
I feel like I have
and like,
this
what do you?
anxiety. So I'm
Yeah.
a fly by the seat of the year. How would you explain this?
How would you explain Bree? Let's see.
I'm a planner. Very much
You're a
a planner.
control-
I'm a list.
You're
I'm
an
a control
adaptive
You're a
perfect.
control
planner.
person.
But I can also
Mhm.
very much be fly by the seat of my pants.
Mhm.
And my husband is the exact opposite. And his anxiety, he gets bombarded by what needs to get done. And he gets very stressed out about, I've got to get this done in the one cut and he's a perfectionist. So he can take love you, honey, but he can take a half-hour project and turn it into a 3-hour project. And then the neighbor comes over and they turn it into a 6-hour project. And, but we have, which I possibly have talked about on the show before, I can't remember. We have a bottle of California Poppy. We never run out. It's a big thing for us. When I start to get really frustrated because his anxiety is here, and when his anxiety is here, he turns into a perfectionist.
There you go.
So he misses time with the kids. He misses the details, because he just pours himself into work at home and at work. So we have a thing now, and I just take that bottle of California Poppy out and I put it on the counter. And in the beginning, he would balk and he'd be like, "Well, I don't need that. I'm fine." Blah blah. And then it would end up in an all-out battle. Come on, you guys all know what I'm talking about.
Big argument about it.
And then he would go, "I guess I could have just taken the Poppy when you reminded me." And now I just set that on the counter, and then he comes in, and sometimes is it that bad again? I'm like, yeah, you should just take that whole bottle right now. And now that's one of our things, and we have found it works fantastic for us. So you learn as the years go on, but for us, Poppy, CBD, and discussing our calendars is huge for us.
Jason walks up to me with a shot glass.
Yeah, Jason is a poor Kim's for her. Kim and my
he's
husband
like,
are
"There
a
you
lot
go."
alike. A lot alike.
That makes
People
sense
don't
though.
realize
I
it.
mean, if
I
you,
know.
yeah. Wait, so what's the concoction? In
Oh,
the
it's
shot glass.
usually for-
Tequila.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I
depends
wish.
on when.
Tequila, poppy, CBD,
Hey, tequila's
kava.
Tequila's cool.
The tequila's in there just to make it taste a little
Yeah,
better.
right. So it doesn't quite
Your
taste
taste
so
buds
bad.
are off,
Right.
right? It tastes good.
No, it doesn't. None of it tastes that good. Right now I do a kava more often than California Poppy. But I switch it between the two. I really do, because I feel like once my body kind of gets used to it and has it a lot, I seem to be taking it a lot more often. So I'll kind of switch it up once in a while depending on just what's working better for me at the time, honestly. I know it sounds crazy, but we always have both in the house all the time. Poppy sometimes makes my anxiety go higher and kind of through the roof, and the kava kind of just cuts it. It gets me a little hyper for a little bit, but it'll go away over about an hour's time. So he just kind of stands clear.
We talk often on this show about food. I mean, sometimes I feel like between testing and food,
Yeah.
which are hand in hand, it's the basis of everything we say. It's a huge part of your life and a huge part of
Especially as a
reasons.
mom.
It's so emotional.
It's
yeah.
emotional, and food has side effects, whether they be good or bad, and all different things. That is probably one of the biggest things I hear from people that they struggle with, is finding the time for food, finding the time to eat healthy, finding the money to eat healthy. What are some of your guys' favorite little tips and tricks as we're heading back to school that keeps up?
Yeah, I'm out of this conversation. I'm just going to sit back and listen to your expertise, because right now Brian is at home meal prepping. So hopefully it works. He's like, "I'm going to make Brussels sprouts and bacon and chicken and all this stuff." And I'm like, that's perfect, because we don't usually think ahead
you've
enough
got
to
a-
meal prep, but he's like, "I think I'm going to do it because he's off today."
So you've got a Brian.
for the week. So I've
And
got a
he
Brian.
cooks most of the time.
He cooks. I don't have a
Just
crock
get yourself
pot or
a Brian. It's very
get
simple.
yourself a Brian.
He's also
Brian
really good
with
at
a Y. And coffee too. But I mean, we don't do like the crock pot, Instapot, air fryer. I don't know all of those tricks and that kind of thing.
don't
But
like
I want to know meal prep
slow
ideas.
cookers. So there's a couple different ways to do meal prep. First way is to make like baggies of things. You've seen them. They go in the freezer. It's all one meal, and you take it out,
Yep.
you thaw it
So
out,
the
and
wild
throw it in the
tree
crock pot.
things.
The wild tree
Yeah.
stuff. There is an awesome farm. It's called Together Farms. It's over in Mondovi, Wisconsin. They'll do all grass-fed and organic in your bag. So yeah, it's a little bit pricier, but you pick up the freezer meals. They're done.
That's
you don't
cool.
you don't do them together. Which, sure, you're looking at maybe between 20 and 30 per meal. However, if you were going to go out to eat, it's going to be 20 or 30 per meal, and it's going to be junk
person.
stuff
Yeah.
in it.
I was gonna say more
So
than
this
that.
is 20, 30, 35 if you're using tenderloin. So that's one option. You pull that out of the freezer. I just don't like the way all the flavors meld
The
together.
texture
You just,
is
I
super
found
soft.
out
It's good for a stew.
we were wasting.
In the
I like my
crock
crock pot.
Yeah.
I just don't love the where you throw it all in a
I was
bag.
never a casserole. We had casseroles. Casseroles growing up.
Growing up.
Because
I
a hot
grew up on a
dish.
farm, so
A hot dish. I do love me some tater
Tater
tot.
tot
Well, you know, they take all the leftovers and throw some noodles
Yeah.
in there, and there you go.
Uh-huh.
You know, add some cheese on top.
Carly's laughing.
I
So that's
can't.
one
I
way.
can't
do it.
Pre-made. Okay, so the second way is weekly. A lot of people do it on the weekends. Maybe if you have a day off during the week or whatever. I schedule lumps of time where here's the pre-communicating. I say, honey, if the baby naps, you get a bonus time. You can go weed whack. I'm not even kidding you. This is my life. Kim's laughing because it's true.
And that is a treat
And if
for
the
Wes.
baby doesn't nap, this is my chunk of food prep time, because when I don't food prep, it means I'm cooking every night. So
Yeah.
in order to get this all done, we meal prep on Sundays. It means I take 3 to 5 hours sometimes, and I cook a bunch of dishes, and it goes in the fridge, and we reheat when we get home. So that's my preferred method of meal prep. Or I pre-cut the carrots, I make the ranch, I make some of those
I see,
things.
yeah.
My
We do
other
some of
method,
those.
depending on the season I'm in, of meal prepping is buying, which is going to be more expensive but still cheaper than eating out, gluten-free organic pre-prep food like chicken nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
So there's weeks where I go in and I say, man, I can't, this is just me being real, I can't meal prep on Sunday, and I know what this week is going to look like. So on Monday we're going to have organic tater tots and gluten-free chicken nuggets, and on Tuesday we're going to have watermelon that was already pre-cut up, and I'm going to get guacamole and maybe a rotisserie chicken from Whole Foods. Like,
Yeah.
I look at that,
right.
that's a meal prep, and it's definitely more pricey than me cooking on Sundays. However, when I was looking at what we were spending by doing the best takeout we could, not only was it not that healthy,
Yeah.
we're in Green Bay, Wisconsin, you know?
Yeah.
So it's
Not a
based
whole
on
lot
your
of
area,
options.
way more expensive.
What do you do?
I don't do a whole lot of meal prep just because especially
Well,
like
your
when it's
kids
warm
are
out.
older.
They're older. So when I do cook, I cook big. And then they can eat it during the week, and then we'll kind of supplement with, like, do a spaghetti one night, and then they can do it a couple times. I'll make massive things of soup. When I do cook, one tip that I did like was making like all the chicken breasts at once, shredding them, separating them, and then one is chicken tacos one night,
Yeah.
and then you have buffalo chicken the next night, and then you have chicken salad. But my kids have gotten older to the point where they can help. So we got one of those meal plan. They send the box to your door, and we were ordering gluten-free and super clean based on their allergies. And it was their job to take their little meal and start cooking. And for me, I'm like, this is not just to help me out, but it's also helping them out because they have to learn how to
teaching them
cook.
skills they need.
Right,
to
it's
know.
teaching them skills.
Yeah.
It's teaching them that you can make real food in 20
And your kids
minutes.
are 5 and 6?
Yes. Yes. No.
Wouldn't that be nice?
No, they're
Waiting for all the
13.
people to be like, what?
They're 13 and 15, and they actually loved it. My son loves cooking,
And
and
you can switch out. We did it too. If it came with a little thing of mayo,
Yeah.
which we can't do any eggs, just switch it out for veganese.
Mhm.
I mean, there's a few things that we toss out, but the main stuff, the veggies, the different things, we picked the meals. You go on and so it's
well,
another
and I
option.
love like the recipe cards that came with them. I kind of take it next level. Just this last week, where I'm like, okay, go pick your favorite recipe, see what we have in the pantry,
house, yeah.
and then I'm taking you to Woodman's. You write your little list, in you go. And then they went in with their, at Woodman's shopping store around here, with their little basket, found their ingredients, swapped out, like their mayos or their sour creams, and started to think through, hey, we can make this stuff clean, we can make this stuff with our allergies.
You mean you have to start when they're teenagers to teach them how to be growing,
No, they're 5 and 6.
thriving adults? That's another
Yeah.
thing. I can't believe the amount of parents
20-somethings.
that, I mean,
Oh yeah, my
How-
kids do their
ugh.
laundry. They chip in on
20-somethings.
cooking.
I still
they-
remember
yeah.
in college, and there were all these, like, most of those were boys, granted, but still, they had their moms come to college and do their laundry, and I was just like, you learn how to do your laundry? What?
I'm like, I
But-
can't say I won't.
but
do my
making
boys'
food-
laundry, but he does his own now.
but he knows how.
Yeah.
But are you going to
But he
show
knows
up
how.
at?
That's the
but
thing.
still.
yeah.
I
No.
know
How
you're
to
not
do
going to
it.
show
No.
up at
No.
St. Norbert's or
Oh,
wherever
no.
you might go to
No.
college and do it.
But
But
there's see, that's
asking your kids to help. We say
Absolutely.
you're part of this
Absolutely.
house. So we've got this weird household because we've got a 1-year-old. So we're in this cute little baby stage of changing diapers, and then we have a 13-year-old. So we're in these long discussions of life and
Preparing
and
to
preparing,
yeah.
and that's why I said tequila is
Mhm.
cool. but
do a 13-year-old.
but we expect her to do things and help out with things as part of the family. I have not put dishes away in 2 years.
Mhm.
She can put the dishes away,
Yeah.
which saves me 15 minutes
But-
where I can go and prep something that she can't do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you also have to teach them to do that. Kylie wants to cook. Kylie wants to make breakfast. She's in charge of breakfast every Sunday. So we do church on Sunday. We come home and she makes breakfast: sausage, fruit, waffles.
Where
Like
was
a
our
good.
invite on Sunday?
I know. She said that too. She was like,
I'm kidding.
"We should have had Brie over." Maybe next time. But there might be breast milk
I'm
in
not
my
eating your waffles.
I mean, I
Probably
don't
your
do it
breast
every
milk
time.
anyway.
But if you, Finley could have used it on Sunday. I was gonna text you because he woke up with his eye was really puffy. I don't know why, but his eye was puffy, and Kylie immediately was like, "You should get some breast milk for his eye."
You know those times when I wish I was still
Oh my
breastfeeding. I
gosh.
come across people who have these eye issues.
who need
and
it?
I'm like,
I know.
breast milk. Sorry, I don't have any.
Yeah. But I was
I know
just saying,
someone who does. And I'm
like, you have to teach them though. Like Kylie wants to cook, and so it's easy to help her and guide her. But with dishes, of course, she doesn't want to do that, and
Nobody wants to.
everyone's just, we're just gonna
Except
do it
Wesley.
to get it done. Yeah, Brian
My
too.
daughter wants to.
We have to like teach her. This can be your responsibility.
I think the littler ones, because Felicity loves
I think it's
doing
cool.
dishes. She wants it, and of course the older ones, oh, just let me do it by myself. Look, it's done faster. I'm like, come on, how is she gonna learn? And when
Right.
she does that, you want to be doing that all
That's a good
forever
lesson
and
to
ever?
learn.
You
Back
want to
in
be
the
doing
day-
that? Because if you don't, you better let her help. And
People
Yeah.
learn.
had
Teach.
kids
They
to help
pretend
on
to
the farm.
teach.
What?
I said it's a
People
good lesson 'cause
back
I
in the
learned
day, one of the
job.
sole reasons for people to have children
Children and stuff.
was to
teach
help.
people.
Yeah.
Can't just do it myself.
I mean, that's
I
why
get it.
you had
That's why
kids.
it's
was
large
to
families
grow
to be able to take it
homesteads
over
and-
And kids
help out.
thrive on responsibility.
Mhm.
They
They
just
do.
do.
And
They
schedule.
thrive being contributing. They thrive knowing they're responsible for stuff, and it gives them it raises the bar and it gives them more
It's a big deal
purpose.
for them. We went to go pick up my mom to go shopping, and she's like, my mom's like, come on, Sid, we gotta get going. I don't have all day. And Sydney looks at her. She goes, I'm not done doing dishes yet, Grandma. You're just gonna have to wait.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
Okay, we had.
But she did. She stayed and she finished, which I thought was pretty neat.
That's
She's
awesome.
Very
7.
responsible
So.
of her. That's awesome.
Bella broke her glasses, and I made her call Shopko and find out. Remember
We
this?
need
Oh,
to.
my.
Yeah. Everybody was
I
bitching on me.
don't remember
I
this.
didn't post anything about that, but
no,
everybody
no,
was
I
making
know
me.
what-
You're making her call Shopko? I said,
No,
yes,
didn't-
I am. She broke her glasses.
She can pick
Didn't
up a
you
phone and
post
learn how to
something
talk.
about the things that kids should know?
Oh,
I thought there was
fill out
something
their
about
own
lists.
paperwork,
Filling out
do
the
this,
remember
Yes.
you posted that, and I love that
I
because
think I
it's so
posted
true.
it to talk
We
about it
do.
on a show. Yeah,
We
let's
have
talk
them.
about that.
We have
You
them.
can.
We have them do that.
Go
Like,
on Google.
Take responsibility. Like they have their paperwork. Fill out what you can fill out,
Uh-huh.
and
I did
I'll
post
sign
that.
it. I'll do the
Got it.
rest of
Click.
it. But
Oh,
Got
you're
it.
smart.
you know
Yeah.
that kind of. There was some of the other things. Making their own lunches. When I had
Oh,
the
that's a
epiphany.
big, easy one.
I was making the girls' lunches,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, Trinity got to about junior high. Yeah, I think it was 7th grade. And no,
And
last
she made- I
year-
remember
no,
you
it was
saying this,
last
'cause then
year.
she
Last
made
year,
her
the
own
year
lunch.
Before, all of a sudden, she was making her lunch. She said, "Mom, I got this. I'll make my." I'm like, Faith, you're on your own, girl.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping in. And she's like, Trinity, no, why'd you do that?
It
She was
does
so
not
mad.
make you a bad mom to make your kids
Oh, you
learn
can
responsibilities. But helicopter parents
Mm.
and hovering parents are big nowadays, and they get their own. Love you guys, and I've done that. And I've been. You get your own feelings by doing all these things. Your kids are 14, 15, 16, 17. Let them do it
Well,
themselves.
and I think what happens is, parents, I get it. Hey, you love your kids, you want to do this for them, but at some point, they have to learn how. They have to be able to take that
You're
responsibility.
hindering them by not
You're
doing it.
keeping them from learning all of those lessons that they need to learn. All those, otherwise, there's skills that they're not going to know because you just always did it for them, and that. Then you see,
Problem
in college, and you're like, how do I do this? You know.
And then you're like me.
You made a comment before, which I want to touch back on. Large amounts of food.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're gonna make French toast, I
Oh,
love
yeah.
French
I was
toast.
just talking about this.
Or waffles.
Or
like we just
waffles
did.
on a Saturday or Sunday morning. Make massive
Double it.
amounts and
Yeah,
freeze
double,
them.
triple
made
it.
massive amounts, and they ate it for breakfast and for lunch.
Yep.
And then for
There
supper,
you go.
and it was all gone.
Yep.
So I
We've done
couldn't
that
freeze
too.
any.
Yeah.
My kids
Yeah.
have made like the peanut butter sandwiches out of waffles in their lunch. They think it's so
Ooh,
cool
that sounds
because
good.
it's like it was already always
you
hard
can bring
enough to
peanut
find
butter.
bread that worked for them. So
If you're cooking taco meat, I mean, in our house we do 2 pounds now because a pound is enough. Now I go, well, this is dumb. I'm gonna make 4. and I use it, and either we use it for lunches or I throw it in the freezer. And although taco meat seems easy and it only takes me 15 minutes to scramble it up and add the seasonings, that's 15 minutes when I get home that it's ready and thawed. There's your dinner.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or when I'm not home and Dad has to try to figure out dinner. So we wrote a list. I should have brought it in. He hates this list. And it's not changed in like 6 years. So it says, Daddy's list of food he can cook.
Oh my gosh.
And if you open my cupboard door,
Oh, that's
it has a
funny.
list of things that I always have in the freezer and then sample sides, because he would call me and say, what can I cook for dinner? Well, go in the freezer. There's taco meat, there's gluten-free corn dogs,
There's
there's nuggets. Well, is that
veggies.
all they're going to eat is nuggets? No, go to the next section of the list and there's canned green beans and there's carrots. But it's,
Just put together a meal.
don't call me, open the cupboard door. I told him I'm going to put it on the outside of the cupboard. He goes, I will not have anybody at this house
Knowing about it.
Outside of the cupboard.
Except now everybody knows about your list, Wes.
Yeah. So I got to the point where I said, stop calling me and ask me what to feed the kids for dinner. I have all the food. I do all the grocery shopping. It's all prepped. Open your cupboard door and look at Daddy's little list.
We actually do that at the
Is that
beginning of
the
the
title?
week. We
It
don't
is.
we don't meal plan per se and say like this is Tuesday, this is Wednesday, but with our groceries we
Don't
just
do
have
that
a
either.
giant list of like these are our dinner options. These are the things that we bought to use in our lunches and then figure it out each day.
I find that I have to at least give myself a note of the things, like I'll come up with ideas over the weekend. Oh,
Or when
this
you're
is what I wanna
shopping.
make.
Yeah.
And then I like totally forgot about like what I was gonna do, and then I'm like, oh man, now I gotta use that. I forgot about that. But I was gonna say, you were talking about like the bulk, cooking bulk and stuff. Okay, so it is harvest time. Okay, so going, from the CSA and all that, you've got your basil, you got your tomatoes, you got whatever. So I just put up a whole bunch of, I take my tomatoes and put them in the boiling water to take the skins
Blanch
off,
'em?
get
Yeah.
all the seeds out, chop them up, cook them a little bit, and then put them in bags, freezer bags, and then freeze them flat so they just stack.
Oh, that's
And
a good
so
idea.
I have a marinara recipe that uses the fresh, so we thaw it, we use that, and Callista has now perfected it. She knows how to do that recipe, so that's her thing. When we do spaghetti or some kind of something like that once a week. That's her job. So she
That's cool.
does. That's her. She's
dinner.
owned it.
Yeah.
And she's perfected it.
And she probably
puts-
loves that too, that she
loves
owns it and gets to do
she's
that.
become a cooker, just like Faith, and Trinity's my baker. So we'll see what happens. But
That's cool.
so along with that, now I actually have all my basil. I'm doing pesto. I do like 20 some bottles of pesto, and I have them all in the freezer. And so that is how I get my kids to eat a lot of stuff. We do pesto.
Your pesto
like
beans are the best.
pesto beans. We do
Which I
pesto
did, and I
chicken
added
noodle
bacon to
salad.
the other day. Have you done
What?
that yet? The
What?
pesto beans add bacon.
Pesto beans and
Everything's
add
better with bacon.
Everything.
No, I
Even
have
Brussels
not.
sprouts.
Basically just beans with
It's
pesto
kind of
on
like,
them and
yeah.
then just adding
Do you put some
bacon.
balsamic on too?
You
That
could.
would be a
I
whole
did
nother
not,
dimension.
but
But yeah, so so there's sandwiches. Some of their favorite sandwiches. They have pesto and cheese and mayo and ham and whatever But so I make that up ahead. So we've got that throughout the whole winter. They know that they eat it.
freezing is an option.
Yeah.
Canning is an option.
Well,
if that's
and
something
chicken
that
breasts,
you can do, and yeah, you
marinated
make-
chicken
Yeah,
breasts,
chicken
all
we do a
different
lot of.
kinds,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
we go and I can grill them, and then they're already cooked, and we have it for the week to do whatever with salads.
Yeah, pick a weekend and freeze a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not a canner. I think it's a science, and it's
It is.
complicated.
It
I'd
is.
rather freeze
I
stuff.
freeze it. Yeah.
My grandma asked me last year what she could get me for my birthday, and I said, you know what you could do? I will get you the jars, and I will get you the tomatoes. Would you can it for me? And she said, I would love to. That was my birthday present.
That's what my
So
mom
you just gotta
always did
think
for me.
idea.
outside the box. But I'm big into freezing. So
We randomness was totally a meal option at our house. I would call it like peasant dinner, and
Oh.
it's like a couple slices of whatever cheese they could have, maybe an apple and something to dip it in. If it's a nut butter, it's like slices of random lunch meat and just kind of like whatever's left over. And it was just little pockets of everything. It's nothing fancy or formal, but it ate through the food, because when you're buying like this, like every last bit should be eaten because you don't want to waste it.
Right.
And the
Yeah.
kids thought it was great because I started it when they were watching like Mickey Mouse's Scrooge Christmas thing, so they had that whole Mickey Mouse peasant thing in their mind,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they thought it was fantastic. I'm like, it saved a lot of time and a lot of scraps.
Right.
Well, I think making soups is a way you can get rid of a lot of things too. Is just experiment with have your soup base and then
that's how I meal prep. I go in my fridge and I say, what is in here that is going to go bad and it needs
Yeah.
to get turned into something.
Mhm.
So
Well, and then for lunches, how do you guys plan your
Leftovers.
lunches?
leftovers
really
is
big thing.
typically what we do, or
For
just
the kids. Like what do you pack
Leftovers.
for the kids?
For the
You pack
older
leftovers
the
for
older
the
kids like the leftovers.
Yeah.
So we'll heat it up, put it in a thermos, and then they've got it's still warm for
Oh,
them.
okay.
Or another option is chicken dog or beef dog. Again, we heat it up warm, stick it in the thermoses. They stay warm, and then they have their little container of ketchup or mustard, whatever.
Mhm.
But salads with the chicken, I say we cut up ahead of time.
Mhm.
We've got cut up chicken on salads or ham or whatever, and we don't just do plain salads. We've got the nuts and the
Yeah, the more
berries
it's
and this
colorful
and
and
that. I mean,
vibrant
it's
and all this
the
stuff.
more colors you got involved, the more it's
Mhm.
interesting for them to eat.
my
and-
littles won't eat like that. So it's chicken
Mine
breast
neither.
cut up in a container and some veganese to go with it, and then maybe I saw this thing the other day. It was really neat, and it showed a toddler's plate, and it said what moms think their toddler's plate needs to
Yes.
look like, and it had all this food on it.
Mhm.
And then it was like 3 pieces of strawberries, 2 pieces of chicken, some dip, and 3 green beans, and it said
Yeah.
what your toddler's body knows it really needs.
Can actually have.
So we
Mhm.
do a lot of just simple things for the kids when
Mhm.
we used to have to pack lunches.
I think you
Yeah.
just have to know what your kid for sure is going to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know last
And
year
their
Zoe
time.
wasn't eating her
And how much
lunches.
time they have to
We just
eat
had
it.
Yeah,
orientation,
they've
or
run
not,
out of time.
yeah, orientation, and they're like, your kid needs to be able to eat in 15 minutes. That's their
Sit
lunch.
them down.
Oh,
set a
we-
clock.
that
We
was one
talked
of
about this.
the
We were
things
gonna
on
practice
we
time.
have practice if they're new
We're
in
doing
school,
that
new in a new
tomorrow.
school.
We're going to do that with Felicity.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Sit
this
'em
year they're
down.
like begging parents to do it.
They have to run
and
and
make
get
sure
their
they can open
lunchbox.
everything.
But really, let's go back to the whole anxiety thing. Let's force our kids to eat their
I
lunch
know.
in
I agree.
15
I
minutes.
I think 15 minutes is. I was not
15
happy
minutes?
about it.
I've always been a slow eater. Like,
Mhm.
I can't eat food in 15 minutes.
15
I'm
minutes.
making those kids just anxious.
But see,
about,
Bella,
like,
you
well,
could give her 2 hours or 15 minutes. If you give her 2 hours, she's going to talk for an hour and 48 minutes, and then she's going to eat for the last 10.
Yeah.
You give her 15
Yeah, I
minutes,
guess
she's going to
that's
talk
Zoe,
for the
too.
first 14 and eat for the last.
I agree. I still think
They're
15
still
minutes
That
is a
is
little.
15 just feels
I think
extreme.
it's crunching it a little bit. So they're like,
Yeah.
number one, don't send too much because you're going to be throwing stuff out. I literally looked at Jason. I'm like, I'm sending a half of a sandwich because by the time they even get that done, and then they want to make sure that
but then
everybody
they
can
come home
open.
hungry.
You
My
know what
kids
my
would get in the
kids
car
do?
after school and
And
eat
then-
the rest
and
of
they're
their
lunch.
hungry
And
at
then give them a
3:15.
The
Oh,
rest
and
of
they
their
eat the rest of the lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zoe
On
did
the
that
way
last
home.
year.
Yeah.
They'd get in the car and be like, "What's left from your
The
lunch?"
problem
and
for
they'd
me
eat
is they
that.
would do that and then come dinner, they don't want nothing to do with it. So it's like, yeah. I don't know. They're trying it this year, but I think that's a little bit short.
Tanya
is
says
short.
hi. From
Hi,
North
Tanya.
Carolina.
That's Ashley's,
Carolina.
that's Ashley's
Carolina.
mom, I think, right? That's
Hello.
Ashley's mom.
Recipes for pesto and marinara. We can get those together, but I know there's tons of pesto recipes online.
Oh,
I'm
gosh, yeah.
notorious for just
It's-
throwing stuff in a blender until it tastes good.
That's literally. you
Yeah,
just throw it
except
in the
what did you
blender.
make once that was not good when
Or
you
a
did
food
that?
processor. I actually use a food processor.
Maybe it was the grasshopper.
The
It
what?
was definitely
It was
the
a grasshopper.
What?
That was not good.
No, like the ice cream drink.
Oh, not a grasshopper.
Oh,
like
no.
Yeah, I made chocolate covered grasshopper.
It's good protein.
Really good
And
protein
food
flour.
processor.
Hey,
and then you talk
if I
about
want to
it.
have
like
the real
supper club
peppermint,
ice
if somebody
cream
would have
dinner
brought me
drink,
my
I would do
wheatgrass
it, yeah.
powder, I think we could have did this. So
Oh.
what they're
I feel
talking
like the
about,
flavor
I
is
did a
so good
mom's
with the color.
I
It
know,
was
it's big
awful.
we did a mom's after dark episode. And we did
On
an
the episode, it was
entire-
terrible.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
It
Did
was-
you
Brandon
tell
and I
everybody?
tasted it.
Oh
and
yeah,
it
it
was
was
awful.
awful. Well, yeah, we
Not
can't give
terrible.
them a recipe
It
that
just
was.
was
couldn't
not
hide her face.
I
perfected.
couldn't. I was like,
No.
if I, no.
Maybe you didn't spank them into milk. That
Oh,
was the
that's
Oh
problem.
yeah, and then she put mint leaves.
That's
Ugh,
okay.
That was bad.
She was supposed to bring wheatgrass
I'm just
juice
saying,
powder.
you should have
because
just left
could
it
just
alone
said
then.
the
color.
I
You
should have
should've
just
just
did
not
a
did
white
it.
one.
Matcha?
Or white.
What's it?
Speaking
Oh,
of
no.
chaos,
Wheatgrass.
that's right now.
Cashew milk ice cream and xylitol simple syrup and then cream de cocoa, and then we were gonna use peppermint stevia or peppermint essential oil, but we used actual mint instead, trying to make that color it, and that was.
Did
They're
not
like
work out.
chunks of mint leaves.
Tastes a little
If you
dirty.
don't know what we're talking about, we did a Moms
Dirty.
After Dark episode about a month ago. We get asked all the time for healthy alcoholic drinks, so that's back. You can go back and watch it. It was fun. We did tons of different things, but
It was
Go on
fun.
to YouTube.
Catherine,
Find
okay, we
our
have a couple
channel.
questions too. Catherine says, I would never have thought to ask how long my teens get for lunch. She said she will ask now. And we have a question from the DPF watch party. This is from Uriah, and he says, #spank the mint at the end of the question. How to make your kids eat veggies, or do you hide them in everything? So how do you get your kids to eat the foods that you know that they should be eating?
I have to
because
hide
my
with my
kids
son.
just want all of the crackers
depends.
and chips and.
I have to hide with my son.
You do?
Yep, 100%.
So how do you
He will
hide 'em?
not- He will not touch anything if he knows or can see it. Or
Mhm.
I'll put like shredded carrots in a meatloaf or
Oh.
Spinach.
Or
I
in
hide lots
spinach.
of stuff in
Spaghetti in spaghetti sauce.
Spaghetti
great
sauce,
place
yes.
to put zucchini and carrot. I mean,
Mhm.
all of that kind of stuff. You could
Tacos? I
blend
feel
it
like
in.
you could throw some stuff in with taco meat too.
You could.
Maybe some spinach or something.
Yeah.
No.
I
I
used
just
to
tell him
let-
it's seasonings. It's because
Yeah.
he'll spot it
Oh,
out. I'm like,
yeah.
it's just a
What's
seasoning.
this
Don't worry
green
about
thing?
it.
I used to let my kids dip in whatever they want.
Yeah.
I'm like, you
Yeah.
have to eat the veggie. Choose whatever you want for a dip.
Yep.
So there
Oh,
was a-
Finley.
Yeah.
Really?
The ranch.
Oh, yeah.
Finley
Our
would dip
kids-
everything in ketchup.
in ketchup.
It's always
Like,
ketchup.
no sugar
We
ketchup.
almost
It's just
did
another
ketchup.
veggie.
Ketchup because who is it? Felicity
Hey,
or
did you
Calista?
see they
Everything
made
was
the full circle ketchup into bigger bottles
ketchup.
finally?
Yes, of course. We have them.
This is the stuff we get excited about up
Oh, I
here.
was trying
Well,
to
for
think
how
of
you
fun.
eat ketchup, you should
We
be the
go
one.
through, we would go when we would go to like the country club or when we go somewhere and we need to, I mean they go through the whole like container and
Yeah, don't be afraid if you're going out and about and you know you're gonna
take
do
stuff with
things
us
to
all the
bring
time.
your ketchup with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might not be able to
our
control
salt,
your
we bring our salt, we
Salt,
bring
yeah.
our ketchup,
You might not be able to control all of what you're eating out, but you can make better choices
Some of it.
and better decisions.
Yeah.
especially if there's allergy. You know, like a corn allergy, you can't have high fructose corn syrup. So
Mhm.
bring your own stuff.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Well, the last thing I just wanted to say before we end the show, next week we're talking about building a kid's immune system, tips, tricks, our favorite supplements. So that is going to come out. We are still here for Labor Day. We've actually pre-recorded that one, but we will be watching the comments if you have different questions and stuff that pop up. But a big thing with school year is breakfast. Is it important? Is it necessary? What do I feed my kids for breakfast? We did an entire episode on New Mom Monday on different breakfast ideas, favorite pre-bought products, etc., etc. I think we had like 50 options. I did it from home, so that's
Oh,
back.
so
We can go
yeah.
ahead
Yeah,
and
that's
reference
right.
that. Yeah, I remember
That
I
was
had
good.
a
I
ladder
remember
on top of a Rubbermaid,
Uh-huh.
The
and I had
behind
my
the scenes of
phone
that was
duct
so funny.
taped to
I remember the
broomstick.
quintessential mom move where you pick up the pacifier with your foot, pick it up,
Oh my
grab
gosh,
it.
and that was part of the show.
Oh,
You
oh,
were
it's on
talking
that.
yeah, and I gave it back to him too.
And
That
I
was funny.
ironed my pajamas for that show.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
all I remember. 'cause I
Wasn't
did
it like
in
a
my
snow day or
pajamas.
something?
But we referenced it.
I
That's
guess
what
so,
this
yeah.
stuff
I think
is
it was.
here for. These become more interactive episodes. You guys want to watch and get a glimpse of our life. Some of those other episodes are different things. But the biggest thing I always say is breakfast doesn't have to be breakfast. Who says you can't have the sweet potato for breakfast?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
you
there's
don't
your
have
veggies.
to just have
Yep.
the
Or
classic
quinoa,
waffles,
steamed veggies,
junk
yeah.
food,
Yeah.
blah blah blah.
My
So,
kids love buckwheat.
I like the cream of buckwheat.
Yeah, that's
and
what it
they
is.
add
Like the
xylitol.
cream of buckwheat,
Mm,
they
and
just love
cinnamon.
it. They added coconut sugar this last time,
Ooh,
which was
That'd be
really
good.
good. Yeah.
kind of like a caramely
Mm-hmm.
flavor. So yeah, so that episode is there. If you have any questions on breakfast, I don't force my teenager to eat breakfast. I know I did better when I was younger without breakfast. I still am an intermittent faster, which means I fast from when I'm not pregnant or breastfeeding. I fast from typically about 6 or 7 o'clock at night till 10 or 11 the next day. And my body does fantastic with that. We won't go into that. We've got tons of shows. But Bella has found that she prefers not to eat breakfast. Her grades stay up. She still eats a healthy lunch. I am not going to force her to eat sugary cereal if she doesn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Personal preference.
Faith she doesn't like to eat breakfast. But then she's like, you know, she packs herself a really awesome lunch though. She's usually got
You
A
should take a
bunch of
picture
stuff.
of it next time she packs the lunch. I want to see what it consists of,
yeah, I should be awake.
just out of curiosity. I hope you're awake. I'll text Faith and tell her to send me a
Should
picture.
have
As
Faith
of
do
Wednesday,
Yeah.
I will because I have to
Do a how to
You
pack your
should
lunch
have
show.
Faith do
Yeah.
a week-long series on the DPF Instagram of what she packs each day.
Yeah,
Just
let's
a quick
do that.
snapshot.
Sure, we could do that.
That'd
Hey,
be awesome.
this week alone, it's back to school. We're just
Mhm.
gonna, cause I forget. I go in phases where I forget about those little guacamole cups that you get
Yeah.
at
Oh, I
organic
love
ones from
those.
There's
Costco.
Yeah.
guacamole and they have just, did you see
They
they,
have a
have
hummus
just,
They have
now?
hummus?
just the avocado.
I saw that too.
Did
So
you
that
know?
one
Just
doesn't have the
avocado.
garlic in it.
Nope,
So if you're
it's
allergic
just
to the garlic or
avocado.
onion or something, yeah.
Yep. And then
Just
there's the
avocado.
hummus.
But I
you know,
see
so you've
people
got
grab
all
these
these-
things and I go, I forgot about that. Why didn't I
Which is
think about
probably
that?
cheaper because avocados are so expensive right now.
And they go
they're
bad.
never
Well,
right.
and they
that-
go
they're never
bad,
right.
and you're like, oh man, they just
Yeah.
went brown.
You know what Brian just bought on Amazon are those little packets of almond butter, and they were
Oh
pretty
yeah,
the
inexpensive.
We've
individual-
got that on automatic.
Yeah, they were pretty inexpensive too. I was surprised. It's like a 10-pack for $6.
That's not bad.
Mhm. Yeah, those
Yeah.
are cool.
Awesome.
Easy for lunches.
Well, thanks for joining us today, guys. If all this overwhelms you, you just have to start somewhere. That's all we did. Just don't get
Oh, yeah.
overwhelmed. Start somewhere. Your kiddos deserve it. You deserve it. Whether it means you're prepping meals or just eating healthier pre-prep meals, or you're saying no to certain things, it's important that you do that for your kiddos. So we will see you next week for immune system, building the kids' immune system, and then we'll see you after that for something we haven't decided yet. If you want to know what you want us to talk about, shoot us a message or comment below. I think that's all I've got. Have a good day, guys.